Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another super cool radio interview. I'm your host, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for tuning in. I have an incredible guest joining me at this time. She's amazing singer, songwriter, and guitarist for Paralandra and The L.I.F.E project. Please welcome Casandra Carson.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Of course. Thank you so much for hanging out with me here on the podcast.
Yeah, it's an honor. Super cool podcast. Like, dang, I'm glad I get to be part of that.
Hey, of course, hey, that's what we go for. Everyone's going to have a super cool time. But I know we got quite a bit to discuss, obviously, with the new album, The Body Electric, and so much more as well. But I did want to talk about real quick. I saw you appeared on TMZ a few weeks ago. So how did that come about?
It was so random. Like, our kind of manager or the owner of Legend Recordings, which is our independent label, just texted me one night and he was like, "Hey, do you want to be on TMZ?" And I was like, sure. Yeah, I guess. And he was like, "Okay, well, I've got a friend over there and she's going to hook you up. So just send her a message." And he sent me the info. And I mean, like 2 minutes later, she responded and was like, "Yeah, we'd love to have you on." And then the next day I was scheduled to go on, and they gave me a list of like 6 topics to choose from, like a couple hours before I was going to be live. So then I had to choose a topic, and then I had to like come up with a 30-second statement about the topic and then send it to them beforehand. And anyway, it was like really stressful, but it was fun at the same time, and like glad I got the experience, but very random. And I'm glad people know what I think about Travis Kelce beer slamming at his graduation.
Yeah, I watched the clip and I go, that is a very random topic to talk about. But so did you record that live, or is that like pre-taped?
Well, I guess it was live, and then they also played it again later. Because there were some people that like immediately said, "I just saw Casandra on TMZ. What the heck just happened?" And so I know that it was live some places, but then like my parents were watching while I was doing it and they didn't see it. So it like aired later for our time zone or for our channel or whatever. So I don't really know how it all works, but it was live for me.
Well, that's the main thing that matters. But yeah, I saw that on your Instagram. I was like, well, it's very cool, to be a part of that.
Yeah. It was scary. It was a great time.
I believe it. But I now focusing more on the music side now. So I'm curious, like for you, was like being a musician, was that like your original like career choice? Like, how did you get into that?
Definitely. I mean, I think I chose that career choice when I was like 12, 13 years old. And I've been just like working at it nonstop ever since. Before that, I was a gymnast for many years, like a decade. And so I thought maybe I would go to the Olympics one day and, maybe would do something in sports or coaching, which still I would enjoy doing. But yeah, I just had to be a rock star. That's been my dream ever since.
Well, all right. I mean, obviously, very fun career path. Don't make a lot of money, unfortunately, but
That's true.
But it's very fun. You get to travel a lot. You get to see a lot of different countries and all of that stuff.
Rich in experience, rich in travel. You definitely get a lot of like cool things out of it, even though you're not making as much money as somebody who probably has a 9-to-5. But way less stress in some ways, and just a lot of fun.
It's very fun with like I've learned so much just through my podcast. I assume with you being a musician as well, learn so much. You get to meet so many awesome and just interesting people.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing these interviews is really fun because it's like, who are the people listening to my music? I mean, you get all these numbers from Spotify and it's like you have X amount of streams, but like you don't really get any information beyond that. So actually getting to talk to people and connect with them and like learn their stories and how my music has impacted them or whatever their perception may be of a song. Like maybe I wrote it out of anger toward a friend or a family member, but they take it as a relationship breakup song, you know? Like, it's just really cool how we're all connected in that way.
Oh no, definitely for sure. And it's so cool just to have that connection. Like you actually get the see the faces to like just the numbers and to
Yeah.
actually interact with the people, live shows, interviews, whatever it is. You get to actually see that human connection with the music.
Yeah. Yeah. That's definitely the part I enjoy most.
Oh no, for sure. So like, and I've been following you just for a little bit. I've actually a friend of mine you did an interview with Chuck Shute. He
Oh,
yeah, that's how like I kind of got turned on to Paralandra and listening to your music. And so I'm like kind of new to your music and stuff. But what I really like about like you and the music and the band is you guys like have very positive, have a great mindset, and you want to inspire people, which is like awesome. I'm very much for all of that. But like I see like with the world, like people focus a lot of like on the negative side of stuff,
oh
which is
yeah.
very unfortunate to see. Like, why do you think people like gravitate towards more of the negative than the positive?
Oh man, I mean, I ask myself that question every day and it's a daily struggle. But you have to literally like reprogram your brain. I mean, I think it's just like doing a drug whenever you feed into the negativity. Like it's that dopamine coursing through your brain and through your veins and like, your amygdala is lighting up and like, you're kind of getting into that fight or flight or freeze um perspective in your brain, and that's what kind of like makes you focus on the negatives. And anyway, I'm obviously on my own mental health journey but like I have found that you have to like notice those things as they happen and then shift your perspective and shift your point of view on whatever the situation is. Like it's something you have to actively be pursuing all the time. And then it gets easier because then you're programming your brain to look for the positive. So then you start to see those things more often and you're not focusing on the negative as much. So, yeah.
Oh no, for sure. I've kind of started to make that shift this year that I really want to, be more positive about stuff. Because like, at least me and like my life, like not everything, even if stuff does go wrong, it's not a travesty. And
Right.
like just to focus more on the positive, because like I feel like I'm enjoying life more if I just focus more on the positives than the negative.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, YOLO. I mean, am I right? Like, you've only got this one life. So why not enjoy it?
Well, no, for sure. And like I know stuff goes wrong. Even podcasting and my other job, like stuff's bound to go wrong, and I'm sure you've experienced that as well. But like at the end of the day, like as long as nothing like terrible happens, even just a few speed bumps, I mean, it's part of life.
Absolutely. Actually, it just makes me think like, with Paralandra, I feel like the four of us are just an awesome team when it comes to dealing with, horrible things that happen. Like, we were on this tour with Yngwie Malmsteen in 2019, and not even 2 weeks into the tour, we went through two transmissions. And we like, what was it? We like sideswiped another person on the highway and like blew off one of our tires, like in the middle of Texas desert. I mean, like we've really been through some scary situations, like definitely life and death, and at the same time, monetarily devastating. So, having people around you that are like-minded and that can be like, okay, well, how do we get through this situation? And, what's the next step? What can I do right now aside from stewing on what just happened? you know? So, having people around you that are like that is super helpful too.
Oh no, definitely for sure. And like sitting around complaining isn't really going to do anything. It's how your attitude for the situation and what you can do to make it better. Like obviously, very scary stuff, especially being stuck in the Texas desert. You sideswipe somebody, like very serious. I'm glad everyone was okay with that. But yeah, definitely a scary situation. I'm glad to hear you guys are okay.
Thanks. There's more where that came from, but just an example. Like, yeah, there's bound to be negative stuff in life. It's just part of it. But how are you going to deal with it is the question.
Oh, exactly. And so hopefully, obviously, I've started to make that shift, and hopefully, the world does a little. It's always nice when you focus on the more positive things of life, because I mean, we have great experiences, and as you said, you only get one life, so you might as well live it.
Yes, exactly.
But I did want to talk about, because I've been listening for the past week or so, the new album, The Body Electric, which is released earlier this month on April 4th. So I've heard some of these songs, like, some were more recent, but some were, written like many years ago. So like, how was it like putting this album together?
It was like kind of a part two to Street Magic, because we had a lot of songs that we wanted to put on Street Magic, but we knew that we only had 8. So a lot of the songs that we just couldn't fit on that first record, we carried over to The Body Electric. So a lot of those songs were kind of just like unfinished business, It's like, okay, now we got to do the rest of what we really enjoyed. And working with Elvis the second time, was a huge part of that as well. But also, like, after we recorded Street Magic and we were touring it, obviously we just continued to write music. So we had a few new songs in there as well. And, threw in a ballad that I never intended on releasing to the public ever, but now it's out there. So, a few surprises here and there, and a few old things that we just, didn't get a chance to get out there. So I feel like it's kind of a culmination of like who Paralandra is and has been over the years.
Oh no, I think it's a fantastic album, like start to finish. It's got great flow from song to song, and all of it just sounds incredible. So like, I'm curious for you, like, compared to like the previous, like, album Street Magic. So like, was it a different writing and recording experience for The Body Electric?
Yeah, I mean, definitely different. I mean, 2 different albums. Like, I will say, I mean, aside from recording more songs, I recorded, like, I would say 4 times more harmony vocals than I've ever recorded before. Like, I just really went all in on it, like full on Freddie Mercury treatment. So that was a little different. We were there for like 6 weeks as opposed to, I think it was almost 4 weeks for Street Magic. So we had some more time. I mean, it's like we had more time, but we were still busy every single day. So I don't know. Things were the same. Things were different. Like, I don't even know. It was fun nonetheless, though.
Well, I'm glad you guys had a very positive experience with the album. I think, it turned out incredible, as I said. And so like, for you, like, do you mentally like prepare differently to like record music compared to performing live?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Live, like, is just kind of in the moment for me. And, sometimes I'll change a melody or, do something a little bit different. With recording, I'm a perfectionist. So I just want everything to be exactly how I want it, every single harmony to be perfect, every little different inflection on each chorus, just so it's not copy and paste, like every little detail is thought through. So very different in those aspects.
I know for sure, and obviously, like the live energy from the crowd is definitely, you don't get that with the recording it. But also, like, for you, like, do you like? Sorry, I forgot where I was going with my question. My apologies.
I do that too. You're good.
I'm a professional, at least most of the time.
It's that old Michael Scott. Do you ever just start a sentence and not really know where it's going and just kind of figure it out as it happens?
I usually do, and usually I can get back on track, but I was just like, I completely blanked. So my apologies for that. I've only been doing this for 5 years.
You're one of the crew at this point. You're good, man.
So I did want to transition to the live performing side with that, moving on from the recording side. So focus on the live music side. So like, for you, how do you prepare for a live show?
I do a lot of vocal regimens. Like, I make tea in the morning and I let it steep basically all day. I've got a little vocal mist, like nebulizer or whatever that I breathe before the show, sometimes a couple times a day, just depending on how I'm feeling. I do about 30 minutes of warm-ups, like right before I go on stage. I always take ibuprofen like an hour and a half before I go on as well, just so that there's no like inflammation, like my muscles are all relaxed, and there's no like just like tension in my body. I'm trying to think. There's a lot of stuff. I mean, like I have these little special cough drops that are like from Sweden that I really like. They're intense. They're like the most crazy cough drop you've ever had times 10. So yeah, it's pretty funny. On the past couple tours that we've done this year, I've shown it to a couple of the other singers, and I'm like, you've got to try this out. It's gonna like blow your mind. And they're like, oh, let me see. And they pop it in, and they're like, oh yeah, I can see. Oh, and then like 5 seconds later, they're just like, like they have to take it out, for portions. I'm finally at a time where like I can actually keep it in until it dissolves, but it's like working up to it. Like it's crazy. But anyway, I do a lot of vocal care, because that's, my moneymaker. That's what I need to be able to pay the bills. So hold it in high regard.
Oh no, for sure. Definitely have to take care of that, treat that properly, and do all the practice and the warm up for it, because as you said, it's what you need to make money, and to continue doing this for many, many years.
Absolutely. I know. Like there's so many just incredible musicians that are getting up there in age, but still crushing it every night. Like Glenn Hughes on the Monsters of Rock cruise, like blew my mind. And that guy, I think he's in his 70s, and he is hitting notes that I would just dream of hitting. And I'm like, holy, how do you do that at that age? So I don't know. I'm trying to keep up with it. I would like to be able to keep singing, the older I get. So.
Oh no, for sure. Yeah, obviously, it's funny. Like you see some people, like unfortunately, they do lose their voice when they get older, and then you got some people like Glenn, and they just kill it night after night. It's always like just you either go one or two ways, and you just never know. Obviously, with the body and everything, but it's just crazy that people can still do it.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Like, one of my favorites is Alice Cooper, and like I've seen him like 6 times at this point, and just every time it's an amazing show. Like he hits all the music, he sounds good, and he gets his head chopped off every night.
Right? I mean, he's really walking the walk. Like, and how old is that guy? And he didn't really pop until he was like 40 something. So it's just like, it's crazy. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's all encompassing. I'm just living my life, man. I'm just trying to make the most of it.
Exactly. I feel that 100%.
As long as I can.
Oh no, for sure. And I mean, that's all. You can take care of the body the best you can, and just see how that goes from there. Like I've been trying to do better with because for a while I was kind of losing my voice, so I'm trying to, like, even though I just do talking, but still talking is part of my job, so I still try to take care of my voice and stuff, and drink tea out of my mug over here. So I'm trying to keep my voice.
Nice. Yes. You got to take care of it.
Oh no, for sure. But I did see, for you guys, speaking of live music, you guys have a cruise coming up in September. So like, what could people expect from this cruise? Like, what are you at liberty to talk about?
Well, there's a lot of really awesome bands that we'll be playing with, like Scotty Austin, The Lonely Ones, Shallow Side, The Almas, more that I'm probably just forgetting right now, but a lot of great bands. I did just have a conversation with the owner of the cruise, Greg, last week, and we were just kind of talking about it. How is this going to go? This is the first of its kind. This is the first ever Rock the Magnifica cruise. So I've been on a couple Kiss cruises, and I've been on a couple Monsters of Rock cruises. So I know how those go, and they're crazy. I mean, it's nonstop entertainment 24/7 for all, 5 days that you are on the sea. So in talking to Greg, it sounds like this is going to be a little bit more relaxing, and it'll be more of like a half and half of like the leisure, and then in the evenings we'll have concerts. So I'm really excited about this actually because it can be really overwhelming with like so many things going on those huge cruises. Like I'm actually really looking forward to just kind of enjoying, being on a ship and like doing cruise things. I've never done a real cruise before. Like I've only done rock cruises. So I'm excited to see both sides of that.
Oh, it sounds like it's gonna be an amazing time. A bunch of great bands who are gonna be performing. So, like, I'm curious, have you performed like on a cruise? Is it a different experience compared to being on land?
Yeah, it's different. Like we performed on the Kiss Cruise 2019, and you could feel the boat rocking like on the stage. It is very scary, and I am like terrified of the ocean. Fully, like that is my biggest fear, whatever you call it, thalassophobia. Oh my God, can't. But anyways, so like being on the ship and like moving and like knowing you're just suspended in the ocean, but also performing, like it's a lot of emotions. It's a lot of things, but you just kind of like continue forward. Uh, but I will say, oh my gosh, like on the Monsters of Rock cruise, they've got this theater where there's a huge LED screen like backdrop. And there are times where that thing is literally like just rotating side to side, just swinging. And I'm like, someone's going to get an amp on their head. Like it's a little scary, but I mean, no problem so far. It's still been great and safe and everything. But yeah, that's just my own personal view of it, I guess. I've got a lot of fears surrounding cruises. No, I'm seriously so excited. Like that definitely trumps the anxiety, and I have to just like be like, you know what, it's gonna be okay, and this is gonna be a great time. It's always super fun, you know. And there is always a possibility that something could go terribly wrong, but that's the same deal like just driving to work. There could be a crazy car accident. So like, can't really let that dictate, am I going to play this awesome concert and have a vacation of a lifetime and be a little bit scared in the back of my head? Yeah, I'm still going to do it.
Oh, for sure, because like you never know what life's gonna have. You never know what it's gonna throw your way with anything. Even just doing mundane things, could
Mhm.
end up poorly. So I say definitely have a great time with that. It sounds like it's gonna be incredible. And even though, for the a little bit of anxiety and risk, it's definitely worth it.
Yes, it is. Definitely. Not to talk anybody out of it. I hope I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I
I'm
don't know how
trying
well
to
we
be
sold this.
promoting this. No one should be scared at all. It's going to be fine.
It'll be a fantastic time. I know I've interviewed quite a few of those bands who will be performing, so I know it's going to be a fun show, and I will leave a link for that in the description as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're going to like the Bahamas. We've got like 2 island stops. I mean, dude, it's going to be great. I'm stoked.
Oh, yeah, and I hope you guys have a fantastic time with all of that. And anyone that's interested, please check it out. Gonna be awesome bands there, and as I said, they're awesome. I've seen most of them live before, so make sure to support this awesome cruise. But I did want to just shift a little bit, and I'm curious for you. Still focused on the like live performance side. Like, do you have a favorite like Paralandra song and Life Project song to perform live?
Oh, my favorite Paralandra song to perform live. That's a tough one. There's a lot of really fun ones for a lot of different reasons. I will say, right now, I enjoy playing Faith, Hope, Love live because it is such a difficult song to play and sing at the same time. It's like maximum difficulty level on Guitar Hero, if you can imagine that. Like, it's just, there's so much going on, here and, down here, like different things, patting your head, rubbing your stomach at the same time, sort of thing. So I really enjoy that aspect of it. I also really love like the Life Project. I love doing the Nothingness. That was like the first song that I actually wrote with Josh. And that thing, it just gets me pumped up. It's got a, like kind of sing along chorus. People normally really like it. In the live setting, the energy translates really well. Um, Man, I really love performing in general, so it's always hard to choose a favorite.
No, I know that song's usually a challenging question for people when I ask it, but I'm always just curious, like what songs stick out for you. So, like do you prefer like songs a little bit more challenging that you enjoy that more compared to more like simpler songs?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I enjoy the maximum difficulty level stuff. Maybe it's the show off in me. I don't know. But yeah, it's fun. It's like a personal challenge. And then also, I'm just thinking to myself, like, if anyone really is looking at what I'm doing right now, their mind is going to be blown because this is crazy.
But I think like and like just knowing like you can pull it off and it looked good, sounded good. I think like just adds just a little bit more just to the enjoyment factor of it.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It makes it so much fun for me. It's kind of like, when I did gymnastics, it's like performing this crazy skill that you just learned and like doing it to the best of your ability for the judges. It's kind of like the same mentality, I think, that I have.
Oh no, I think it's the same definitely translates. Except the judges are just a bunch of fans that at a show that are like just rocking out with you. So I think a little bit more those judges have a little bit more fun I think than like competition judges.
Yes, and there's no scorekeeping, so that's really nice.
That is yes, very true, very true.
Yeah.
So now, as I'm starting to close out this interview, Casandra, I had a fantastic time chatting with you about many topics that we did cover in this interview. So like, I'm curious for you, like outside of like music, like how do you like unwind and like relax?
Wow, my relaxing. Well, there's versions of it, like going to the gym. I was just at the gym earlier. That's a great way for me to clear my head, like to mentally relax. And then same with like I play volleyball as often as I can. Like when I'm in town, I'll play like at least once or twice a week if I can fit it in. And that's another like great mental relaxer for me because I feel like being in a band, like you own your own business and you are always on the clock. You are never not working. So even whenever I'm sitting down or laying on the couch or like watching a movie or something, relaxing, I'm not relaxed on the inside. I'm like, I got to do something. Like I'm missing out. I need to like book some shows or whatever, like to do with the band. So I find that a lot of my relaxation comes by doing things that I enjoy, rather than like actually just, being leisurely and doing nothing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm a similar way with that. I like when I go work out and I don't take my phone with me. So like I just like that way like no one can bother me when I'm working out. So
Yes.
like I do think like I totally feel you when it comes to that because like similar to me like I'm always on the clock when it comes to my podcast. So even if someone
Hmm.
like hits me up and it's like 11:30 at night, if I'm up, I'm still gonna respond.
Absolutely. Yeah. That's how it goes. And with songwriting too, sometimes inspiration will hit at like 1 a.m. and you ride the wave. So yeah, it just there's no like clock in, clock out about it. So taking time for myself and like creating my own sanctuary has been like my relaxation, my unwinding.
Oh no, for sure, for sure. I definitely understand that. Now, last question before we close out, before we talk about the future plans for Paralandra and the Life Project. So, like, I heard that you really like Dr. Pepper. So, like, I'm curious for you. So, like, do you go with like the original flavor, or do you go like a different, like a cherry or vanilla? Like, which ones?
Oh,
Which is your go-to?
it's classic or bust. I won't do any of the extra flavors or diet. Like it's got to be the OG for me.
Right on, right on. That I've been drinking. Well, I usually go with the OG, but I've been drinking cherry just to try it out. But I will say the extra flavor does throw it off a little bit. Like it doesn't the OG way. It tastes better.
Right, right. They got it right the first time.
Exactly, exactly. Now, as we close this out, so what are like the plans for the rest of 2024 for Paralandra, the Life Project, yourself? Like, what do you have coming up?
A lot. So, for the next 2, 3 weeks, I actually have off. I don't have any shows. So I'm gonna fly up to the Northeast, and my boyfriend Jaron has some shows with Lynch Mob. So they're playing like M3, couple shows up there surrounding it. So I'm going to enjoy some time with him and listening to his music on the road and just having some family time. But then once Memorial Day weekend hits, it's literally touring throughout the rest of the year. And I'm going to have like no time off at all, which is great. I enjoy it that way. Lots of traveling, you know. So I'm really just kind of like enjoying my time for the moment. And then once Memorial Day weekend hits, all touring. And then, what else? The L.I.F.E project, we're planning on recording, maybe releasing. I don't really know just yet, but recording our next album this year, or EP, whatever it ends up being. Josh literally just like a couple days ago messaged us and was like, hey, like, I'm ready to get back into the studio. Are you guys still down to do this? And everybody was like, yes, we're in, you know. So we just have been waiting for the green light from him, and we finally just got it. So I'm super excited. There's like, I want to say 5 original songs that we recorded in December of 2022. That we never ended up getting to do anything with because Josh went in for his back surgery, and, you know, we didn't want to promote anything when we couldn't tour on it. So anyway, I'm excited to get back into those older songs because I remember really liking them. I just haven't like listened to them in a while or really dove back in. So I've got that coming up. Also, I've got an album coming out with George Lynch later this year. I'm not sure on the release date of that, but we finally decided on album artwork like last week. So I'm pretty sure that's like the last thing that needed to be finalized before we could start moving forward with, you know, the rollout plan, singles, music videos, photo shoot, you know, when's the actual album going to drop? So, but it's planning on being released later this year, 2024. So a lot of stuff up in the air, a lot of stuff already in stone, just a lot in general. So,
well, it sounds like it, and sounds like it'll be a very busy year for you, which I'm glad, you know, better be busy than not. So I'm happy for you with all of the, you know, projects you got working on, including the collaboration with George Lynch. Sounds incredible. I can't wait to check that out when it is officially released.
I'm freaking stoked, man. Like, I'm just going to say this. I don't even care. This album that I wrote with George is my favorite music I've ever written, like, thus far in my career. It is, I'm so proud of my songwriting, my lyric writing. Like, we really took it to the next level. George brought me to the next level, I would say. So I cannot wait for people to hear that and to hear everything else that's coming out. It's just never ending.
Well, I'm glad. I'm very excited. I'm glad you had an awesome experience, you know, writing and recording with George. And I'm, as I said, very much looking forward to it. And you know, when that's officially released, plus with everything else you have going on, hopefully maybe I'll catch you at a show sometime as well.
Yeah. Where are you from?
Northern Indiana.
Okay, cool. We've got some Indiana dates already on the calendar. I don't know them off the top of my head, but it's happening.
I will be on the lookout for that.
Yeah.
All right, now, as I'm closing this out, so for yourself, Paralandra, L.I.F.E project, where are the best places to find all of that online?
So for all the information about all the bands, I would just recommend following me on my social media, which is just at Casandra Carson Official, pretty much anywhere. I'm most active on Facebook and Instagram, so I'll just throw that out there. But then, of course, you know, you can follow my bands individually if, you know, one suits you more than the other. And that's just, you know, at Paralandra, at the L.I.F.E Project Band, and the George project will be announced soon. We don't have any official details on that just yet. So again, just follow me for that. But all the information's out there. So.
Well, right on. I will leave some links for all of that in the description of this podcast, along with the cruise. But Casandra, thank you so much for stopping by Super Cool Radio. I had a fantastic time hanging out with you.
Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time too.
Of course, for Casandra Carson, I'm your host always, Matthew Thomas. Thank you so much for watching and listening to Super Cool Radio. And remember, stay frosty.